Hi guys, it's Sienna. Welcome back to my channel. How is everyone? I hope you are having a wonderful day. You guys are very interested about the different cultures in Korea, and although I do plan on making more beauty fashion related content, but today I have a hopefully interesting Korean culture related video for you guys, and that is about the wild goose fathers in Korea. So if you guys haven't heard, a wild goose father basically refers to a Korean father living in Korea and working in Korea who has sent his wife and his kids abroad, maybe in America or even in Southeast Asia, just a English-speaking school for their children, for them to expand their education. And he will basically send the money that he earns in Korea to his family that live abroad. They are called wild goose fathers because, you know, geese, they fly long distances from season to season. The female geese, they hatch the eggs and they take care of them, while the male will watch and protect the surrounding area until the summer. And these male geese, they usually have to travel far to see their families. Most often, kids are sent to countries in the West, like in America specifically, where we believe that the education is less stressful there, and obviously learning English is a major asset. I can talk about the education system in Korea in a different video, but you know, the education system in Korea is pretty intense. Like, you're expected to do nothing but study until you're graduated from high school, and they go to school and they go to an academy after until late at night. They have exam seasons, and it's just a very hectic, like stressful time. So there's no time for extracurricular activities, or like there's no opportunities to explore a lot of career fields when you're in high school. It's just mostly focused on studying. A lot of Koreans believe that when we go out to Western cultures, then we have a more relaxed education system. But the life of a wild goose father is, as you know, pretty alone, gets pretty stressful, and they have to make a lot of sacrifices for their families living abroad. This main culture of wild goose fathers started in the 1990s. I would say like mid 1990s, among parents that are middle age of like 30 to 40 years old that were thinking about sending their kids abroad for better education. The idea of sending their kids abroad all started from, you know, just parents thinking that the Korean education system is very, very strict. There's no time for their children to develop different hobbies and grow at their own pace. So it was a very harsh environment for them, and they believed that sending them abroad would help them learn at their own pace. It is solely just for education purposes, and like I said, I lived abroad pretty much my whole life. From when I was in elementary school, I lived in Singapore, and my own dad lived back here in Korea while my mom and my siblings lived in Singapore, so he was also a wild goose father. There are some families that will send their child alone to a different country, like they would put them into a host family or a boarding school just in hopes of them of having a better education or learning English But some families, you know, they think that sending your child alone to a foreign country, especially when they're underage, is a nerve-wracking thing to do. So they would be sent with their mother and other siblings, while the father stays back in Korea to work and financially be able to support them, because, you know, tuition is not cheap, especially as an international student, and other living expenses like rent, groceries, and all that stuff will definitely not be cheap either. Although they are sent for most of these amazing benefits that will be quite hard to get in Korea, the downsides of being a wild goose father obviously is that there's a lot of mental health issues that may arise, since most of the wild goose fathers they come from middle-class families, and the main source of income is from the father working in Korea. Obviously, the cost of tuition, like I said before, accommodation, you know, groceries and other living expenses is going to be not easy for just one parent to cover them all. So a lot of the fathers who make the choice to be a wild goose father, they usually have to sacrifice a lot back in Korea to make it work. Living alone for a long time, some people go for a couple of years, and you know, when children, they go to a new country or to a new school, it takes them a while to adjust into the environment. So a lot of the students will go for a year and up, which means that for those years, which is a pretty long time, the fathers will have to live alone. So living alone and working really, really hard just for all the money that you earn to be sent to your family members living abroad is not an easy life. Some fathers said that they just wait for these miserable like agony to be over every single day, and they just count down until he can see his family again. This will affect a lot of the father's mental health, and they will develop depression, and many turn to alcohol to relieve their stress, which is only going to worsen their mental health. In some extreme cases, there are some fathers that may choose to take their own life from all the stress and the depression. They will just work hard because they live alone, so there's nothing really to come home to. So they will overwork until some newspaper reports that there are some fathers that unfortunately pass due to a heart attack in their office or their homes from working too much. A lot of the fathers express that they feel a lot of loneliness from being separated from the rest of their families for a very long time, especially if your children are younger, then they're missing out on bonding with their kids and having that relationship with your kids from their childhood. So it leads to a lot of family issues as well. Many families only get to see each other maybe once or twice a year for the kids' holidays. This might also affect the relationship between the husband and the wife as well, leading to divorce. Because of this long separation and lack of contact, a lot of the spouses, they feel like they have lost that emotional connection. Since the global financial crisis of 2008, today the numbers of Wild Goose Fathers are slowly declining as we speak. As the number of Korean university students increase, the other numbers of foreign students and other jobs offered overseas have been declining. There are now even a lot of reputable international schools in Korea that the parents can send them to, or they even choose to send their kids to international schools in other parts of Asia for about 2 or 3 years, and then they can be enrolled into a Korean university once they come back. Even though the education system in Korea is still very strict, there are other improvements that are being made when it comes to giving your child a better environment for them to learn English in a more natural way. A lot of the Korean schools, they only focus on proper grammar and spelling and things like that, and we don't really get a chance to practice a lot of free talking. But now there are a lot more reputable international schools and English kindergartens, even though they've always kind of been around. Yeah, coming from personal experience, I do have to say that it was definitely not easy for my family, even though I was very young and I had the most amazing time living abroad. I was not able to form a deeper relationship with my dad for the times when I was living abroad, because you do only get to see each other like once a year. To me, it wasn't really a big like, why is my family different kind of moment, because a lot of the other Korean families at my school also had Wild Geese fathers, so they also didn't live with their fathers. So it was very normal to talk about their fathers in like, oh, my dad's in Korea, we get to see him next year and things like that. But I do think that it's valid that the mental health of the fathers living back in Korea definitely takes its toll, and for the relationship as well. So I am happy to see that the numbers of Wild Goose Fathers are decreasing in Korea, and families just choose to stick together and think of other options to stay together as a family here. What do you guys think about the whole Wild Goose Father culture in Korea? If you are not from the US, do you have a similar culture like this in your own country? I would love to know about the different cultures. As you know, education is really important in Korea, and like I said, I can make a whole video about that as well if you are interested. Let me know if you guys have any other video ideas for me down in the comments below, and like and subscribe to this video for more videos. Bye guys!